Edo State government must be commended for the job well done so far. As we speak, drawing for the museum has been done by well-renowned architects. Like I told you, very soon, excavation will take place. A pavilion is being planned to be built somewhere in Benin. Pavilion to house the finds from the excavation, and equally objects that will come to Emowa also will be housed in that pavilion pending the time Emowa is ready. The pavilion that will be massive and very big. I've seen the design too of that. So the Edo State government is serious about it. Very, very serious, I can assure you.
Okay, sir. So, in what ways has Benin civilization grown since the Europeans departed from Benin?
You can see for yourself. It's just like one of our great politicians will say, the blind can see, the deaf can hear. How Benin has really expanded. For example, I grew up in Benin, in Trinity, born, bred, watered, maybe in Benin, and so I speak from experience. The type of houses, for example, big houses, houses that we had in Benin, family houses. Many of them roasted zinc, or said the corrugated iron sheets. The roof members were, level of age and all that. But if you go to Benin today, you see modern houses, hotels are everywhere. Benin has really expanded. We were here those days, the way it is now was not how it was. The road network has equally been expanded. And Benin has benefited from the introduction of modern governments. Successive governors, in these things that come and added value, to the not just architecture, but the entire face of Benin. And we can see that in many, many areas. Buildings, roads, and development generally, healthcare, and so on and so forth. So the present government is doing its utmost to add its own contributions to what is the settlers have done in the past. When you say ancient city of Benin these days, that adjective is becoming a modern city of Benin because to all intents and purposes, Benin is actually city. Ancient, that adjective is good. From what the eyes can see, or ancient in terms of antiquity, how deep the rich history of Benin is. Yes, I can allow that. So Benin has expanded and we're happy about it.
Yes, sir. But I was actually referring to the fact that the Benin Kingdom continued the monarchy from when the Europeans left, even to this current day. Would you say that they still followed the original plan from that time till now? Or would you say that the massacre changed the direction completely?
So not freeze Benin development. 1897 could not truncate the flow of our monarchy because of our Borame's passage to join his ancestors in 1914 led to the ascent to power of his first son, in spite of the 70-year hiatus between the time he was deported and when his son became Obayeweka II. There is still continuity. Obayeweka II, after his reign, his own first son, Oba Kenzwa II, became Oba. Oba Kenzwa II, after his reign, his son, Oba Ediawa, became Oba. Oba Ediawa, after his own reign, his first son, our revered Oba, Oba Ewaya II, Ogidigan, His Royal Majesty, is now the Oba of Benin.
All right. So, what is the future of Benin art culture? Because it seems like in times of old, art was really, it was like a main source of livelihood to some people. I think some families, I asked around and they said some families were dedicated to the bronze casting and the wood carving. Do you think it's still going to be like that in the future? Do you think people are still just as invested now as they were then?
Well, when you say then and now, you must be careful to draw the line. What we had then, the real then, was cut art, where the Oba alone commissioned the production of bronzes. That is why the British were able to see just on one spot, the Oba's palace, so much to take home. Because the Oba was the one that was determining production, commissioning them. Give me this, give me that, produce that, produce that. What we have now is that mercantilism has stepped in. It's now commercialized because they now see it as a source of livelihood. They have to survive this economic crunch. So they produce contemporary artworks which tourists, both local and foreign, go to Edo Street and purchase as mementos or souvenirs, which they take abroad. Only after we have issued them do with export clearance to take them abroad. So
Okay.
that's what is happening. So the families that have been doing that have still been doing, even though their children, just like children of every other family, they have ventured out into other areas. They still have those they train who still do it in the good street and they are still producing. Even as we speak, they are producing. That's the beauty of Benin art.
So apart from the repatriation of the arts, the artifacts, the creation of the new museum, what other methods are being put in place to propagate the culture of the Beninese? Because it seems the world is going through a phase of, I don't want to say cultural loss, but it seems there is a lot of influence of the West on literally everywhere in the country. So what are the Beninese doing to make sure that their culture remains indelible?
They are doing a lot. There's one Institute of Benin Studies in Benin, for example, and the lot that has been done is through the academia to see how they can awaken the consciousness of the people, to read and learn about the culture of the people. That is the best we can do. Where parents, for example, can play the role of teachers and lecturers and tell their children about what we wear and where we are coming from, where we are today, and where we are going to. The parents have a role to play. The church has a role to play. Funny enough, even though when the church came, missionaries came, they brought the Bible in one hand
And
and
a sword
collected
in
the
the other hand.
artifacts, and a sword in another one, which they collected the artifacts. If I start telling you about how the artifacts got abroad, apart from 1887, you'll be surprised. That even during the colonial regime, as our missionaries were entering villages and collecting all these objects, taking them abroad. The ones that didn't go abroad, they encouraged people to burn them because they were fetish. That's how they call them. Serving the devil,
Hidden.
hidden worship and all that. They should destroy it all. Some came and said they were doing research on the objects. They took them abroad, they never came back. Some went as far like gifts also. But again, irony is all over the place. The irony again is that it was some European colonialists who were here, not as colonialists per se, but as part of the working group, like K.C. Murray, D.C. Duckworth, who were the ones who fought for the establishment of the museum and for the stealing of artifacts abroad. This is after even 1897. Talking about post 1897, during colonial regime. It was the same white people who now said, museum is a foreign concept, like we even have it here, it's a foreign concept. Where you house artifacts in showcases, like we have them, they're neatly arranged, people come in and view. The way we treat our arts is like an open museum. Museum without walls, museum beyond the showcases. They were in open, shrines. No inhibition. You can view them. The chief priests, the devotees can view them. But here we have to close them up because of security concern. That is a foreign culture that we brought back to Africa. And that's because we went through colonialism. But it has its own advantages also. So that's how they can preserve it. Teaching of history in school is paramount too. That can help because while in secondary school, history was one of my subjects I did in WAEC. It was African school certificate. And there's history there in my results. We were taught history and we knew about our heroes of the past. Those who say they don't like history in schools, why do they sing our national anthem? And the heroes of labor of our
Heroes
heroes
past
past shall what? Never be
in
in vain.
vain.
They'll be in vain when you refuse to teach history in school.
Will be all. Thank you so much for having AETV live in this prestigious museum today, and thank you so much for all the insights that you have provided. So is there anything you would like to say to tourists or people who want to come to Benin?
Visit the National Museum Benin today and avail yourself about the rich history of not just the Benin people, but that of one man, Eso Alonge, whose exhibition is on the first floor, who was a photographer to the court of Benin, was a photographer to Oba Kenzwa and covered all his activities. So all his photographs, glass plate negatives, were bought by the Smithsonian National Museum of African Art, digitized, and the exhibition was held, and he's traveled that exhibition here, and we have them on our first floor. We have 3 floors, ground, first, second floor, all with each with different exhibitions. So we have 3 in 1 exhibitions. Visit us, and I will assure you, you will not go the way you came in terms of knowledge.
All right, thank you very much for joining us on the show today. And we also want to say a special thank you to Mr. Theophilus Umogbai and the National Museum, Benin City. Now, we know that ever since the departure of the Europeans from Nigeria, since the 1897 massacre, the artifacts recovered from Benin are scattered all around the world. But I assure you that there is a different feeling of nostalgia when you are actually in Benin City, the home and origin of such artifacts, and one that houses one of the best monarchies in the world. So I encourage you to visit Benin City for a one-time experience. Don't forget that you are watching The Spot Hunters. I am Style with Fox, and this is AETV Live.